Preseason football often lives in the land of caveats, but the tape from this night gave evaluators something real to chew on. The headline is Depth at Quarterback. Mason Rudolph, in a limited sample, was surgical, completing 9 of 10 passes and capping his opening drive with a precision 19-yard touchdown to Darnell Washington. Rudolph looked like the kind of veteran game manager who can come in and move the offense without forcing low-percentage plays, and that's critical when the starter is a high-profile veteran and the team needs reliable insurance behind him. Skylar Thompson's extended work was the more consequential discovery. The third-year pro completed 20 of 28 passes for 233 yards and 3 touchdowns, executing rhythm throws, finding intermediate windows, and showing a calmness that belied his backup status. He avoided panic in the pocket, made quick reads against coverage, and delivered timing that suggested comfort with game tempo and competence in Arthur Smith's offense. That's not just a feel-good box score, it's film that raises the floor of Pittsburgh's QB room. The offensive line deserves credit for giving both quarterbacks workable pockets. Too often, backups are judged harshly when they're hurried. Here, clean protection allowed rhythm passing and a sustainable third down conversion rate. Receivers created separation and made contested grabs, while the run game glimpses hinted at balanced play calling rather than one-dimensional scripts. Even without full starters on the field throughout, the unit's cohesion was notable. Aaron Rodgers' intangible influence illuminated the sidelines. His presence in meetings, on walkthroughs, and in informal quarterback mentorship appears to be elevating the backup's preparation and cadence. That kind of veteran leadership is subtle but compounds over a season. If Rodgers provides starter-level play when healthy, and the backups demonstrated here can bridge any gap in relief, Pittsburgh will have strategically acquired both immediate and structural value. There are understandable caveats. Preseason competition is curated, disguise packages are toned down, and intensity varies. The truest tests, multi-quarterback pressure, 2-minute scenarios against top defenses, and the ability to handle disguise-heavy blitzes are still to come. But for a team that reshaped its identity in the offseason, showing this level of cohesion in Week 1 preseason is meaningful. It suggests the Steelers aren't simply collecting names. They're building a functional group that can execute under game conditions. Why this preseason game matters more than it appears has as much to do with organizational narrative as with a single night's tape. Pittsburgh entered the offseason with an aggressive plan: add proven talent, plug defensive holes, and reload the receiving core with high-impact weapons. Those moves created a complex roster puzzle: how to integrate aging star power with young depth, maintain cap flexibility, and ensure chemistry doesn't suffer as new pieces come together. This night suggested one answer. The Steelers are building around sustainable quarterback depth rather than a single point of failure design. Rudolph's short, efficient stint reinforced his role as an experienced relief valve, a man who can steward the offense and avoid turnovers. That's high value in a season where the margin for error is thin. Thompson, meanwhile, provided a longer audition. His 233 yards and 3 TDs were not mere garbage time padding. They came from sustained drives built on rhythm passing and smart decision-making. For a roster that has struggled with quarterback consistency, that kind of reliability is a narrative pivot. It means the coaching staff can afford to think creatively about packages, third down calls, and situational rotations without fearing collapse. Offensive line performance is the unsung variable. Good line play in preseason does not guarantee Week 1 dominance, but it does buy coaches the ability to expand playbooks. The Steelers' front allowed both rhythm throws and planted pockets, which, when paired with receivers who can win on intermediate routes, opens up the field. An offense that stretches vertically but controls intermediate spaces keeps defenses honest. If Pittsburgh can limit pressure and consistently create 3-step passing lanes, their play action and RPO game becomes far more dangerous. And that's where a veteran quarterback's influence is likely to magnify returns. Special teams and situational football are also worth noting. Preseason is the laboratory for fourth down decisions, fake punts, and clock management. The Steelers demonstrated situational awareness on several late down plays, choosing conservatively or aggressively when the context demanded. Those micro decisions often swing tight games in the regular season. Coaches take notes. Consistency from complementary units will be additive to any QB-driven success. Now consider the intangible market effects. Signing a marquee veteran changed Pittsburgh's public profile. More national eyes, more advertiser interest, more pressure. But it also created a mentorship ecosystem. Young QBs with daily access to an elite practitioner learn pace, cadence, and mental processing that can't be taught in meetings alone. The measurable uptick in Thompson's pre-snap timing and Rudolph's game management polish may be early dividends of that tutelage. What must happen next is deliberate and measurable. The team should expose Thompson and Rudolph to disguise packages, timed pressure, and 2-minute drills in practice. Coaches need to replicate complex game-like stressors to see whether the preseason composure holds up. If the backups can replicate this calm under true first-unit pressure, the depth argument gains empirical weight. Health and load management for the veteran starter will also be essential. Even with strong backups, you don't want to burn a veteran into the ground. The Steelers must balance immediate contention with long-term sustainability. There are strategic implications for roster construction and play calling. If the backups prove reliable, Pittsburgh gains flexibility. It can lean on packages that protect a veteran starter's snaps, integrate more creative situational plays, and perhaps use snap count management to keep key players fresh down the stretch. That helps both short-term win probability and long-term roster longevity. Conversely, if further tests flaws under disguise or pressure, the staff must be ready to adjust, lean into simpler schemes, and prioritize protection and quick game reads to limit exposure. In sum, Pittsburgh's Week 1 preseason win is a meaningful data point, not a proclamation, but a statement. It suggested that the offseason moves were more than splash. They began to function on field. The quarterback room now looks like an asset rather than a liability. The offensive line provided a working foundation, and coaching execution showed clarity. The next stage is validation. Tougher practices, meaningful preseason stressors, and opening week performance. If those tests hold, this preseason night will be remembered not as warm weather fun, but as the moment the Steelers began to resemble the balanced, resilient team their front office envisioned. Pittsburgh, the scoreboard said preseason, but the Steelers' performance in Jacksonville felt like much more than a tune-up. A 31-25 road win might not move the needle in the standings, but after a whirlwind offseason and months of questions about identity and quarterback play, Pittsburgh left the field with something harder to quantify: momentum. General Manager Omar Khan has not been shy about reshaping this roster, and the additions of Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Ramsey, and DK Metcalf created as many expectations as headlines. On Friday night, those moves looked less like a gamble and more like the beginnings of a plan. The offense, long the franchise's chief headache, showed cohesion, balance, and, crucially, decision-making at the quarterback position. Mason Rudolph started with the kind of efficient, mistake-averse football the Steelers have missed. He engineered an opening drive that set the tone, capping it with a 19-yard touchdown laser to Darnell Washington. Rudolph's line, 9 of 10 for 84 yards and a score, was short on flash, but long on the kind of reliability that gives a staff breathing room when evaluating depth behind Rodgers. Then, Skylar Thompson took over and turned an already encouraging evening into a statement. The third-year signal caller completed 20 of 28 passes for 233 yards and 3 touchdowns, punctuating drives with timing throws and a pocket calm that suggested growth. Thompson didn't force throws, manage the clock, and showed the type of accuracy coaches covet in low-leverage moments that can grow into trust in high-leverage situations. With rookie Will Howard sidelined by a broken finger, the stage was set for the veterans to lead by example. Rodgers' presence in meetings and on the sideline, whether he was taking snaps or mentoring, was visible even if he didn't play meaningful snaps on Friday. His influence was evident in the rhythm of the offense and in the confident reads by both Rudolph and Thompson. Leadership like that can't be measured in preseason stats, but it often reveals itself in quicker processing and cleaner execution by younger players. Protection, too, looked better. The offensive line gave the quarterbacks time to work and opened running lanes when needed. Receivers made contested catches and gained separation, turning short completions into chunk plays. Special teams and situational football still need polish. Preseason will always be a builder for that. But the overall unit played like a group that could sustain drives and finish possessions. This win doesn't answer every question about the Steelers' path forward. Injuries, roster battles, and chemistry still loom. But for a franchise that has struggled to find consistency under center, Friday's performance offered a promising glimpse of what a Rodgers-anchored room might look like when the backup core can actually back him up. For Pittsburgh, preseason progress isn't just about wins, it's about belief. And against Jacksonville, the Steelers made a loud, convincing case that belief is growing.